if you are watching this video, I'm assuming you are a young man who is struggling with depression. Like, you constantly have this cloud over your head. Like, you have chains on your shoulders holding you down. And you almost have like this void in your soul that just constantly, it's just constantly there. If that resonates with you, I just want to tell you that I've been there. I went through depression for 2 years, and I just want to say it sucks, bro. It honestly does. But the reason why I'm making this video is because even though I was at that point, I can now say that, yeah, I'm honestly in one of the best seasons of my life. Life has been absolutely great for me. Obviously, I don't say that to sort of show that I'm special or anything, but I wanted to say that because I want you to know that even though I went through that hard time, and I really went through it, bro. I went, like, I remember it would just be like so hard to get out of bed every morning. Every single morning, just getting out of bed was such a challenge, yet alone doing the tasks that I knew waited for me for that day. But as I said, now I'm at a point in life where I genuinely feel motivated. I feel really disciplined. I feel focused. I feel great. I feel like I'm really making progress in life, and I want the same for you. I really do. And so I've dedicated this video specifically for the type of person who is depressed, who is feeling the way that I was describing, where you feel genuinely held down, and you may even feel like a bit of a burden to the world. I know what it's like to be there, bro. And so I've thought of almost 3 pivotal moments in my life that helped me to overcome that season of my life and really just break free and just blossom as the man that I know I was always meant to be. So I remember this was towards the end of my depression. So this was about 2 years in. So you can imagine it's quite a long time, right? 2 years. But I remember this is when I was driving on my L's. I was driving with my family, and we were on this private road, and I remember I just broke down. I literally couldn't keep driving. I pulled over to the side of the road, and I remember I was just so overwhelmed by everything in life, and I sat on the side curb, and I remember I just had my head in my arms, and I was just crying, and I thought there has to be more to life than this. Genuinely, that's how I felt. Is I was just contemplating, like, what else, like, there has to be more to life than this. I can't just keep existing feeling constantly burdened by life's struggles. That's where I was at. And I remember that moment so distinctly because it was at that moment where I just realized that I declared to myself at that moment that I was going to do whatever it takes to get out of that depression. So that was the end of 2021. So the start of 2022, I had these dumbbells in my room, and I began my weightlifting journey. So woke up at I'd wake up at like 5 or 6 in the morning, and I would just force myself to get out of bed, and I would lift I'd lift weights. I would turn on a tutorial online, and I would just work out in my room at night. Well, at night it was dark. It was in the morning, and I started to run 3 times a week. And man, I'm telling you, when I did that, things changed drastically. Before that, I used to play video games, and I sort of had no challenge in my life. I would just sort of live day to day, doing schoolwork, then I would just play video games whenever I wanted to. And I felt miserable because I had no challenge in my life. And so, okay, maybe you are lifting weights, maybe you're not. Weights are only the, I guess, tool that I was using. But what really helped me was I started to challenge myself. And I don't offer this as cliche advice. I genuinely say this because as men, we thrive on challenge. We thrive on pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone, becoming better every single day. Having this mindset where I'm just going to do what it takes to keep progressing. And the problem is we live in a world today where men are discouraged from pushing themselves. We're encouraged to take life easy and to just be comfortable, have balance, do all these things. And I'm not saying that any of that is bad, but we as men, we take that so far to the point where we don't even have challenge in our life anymore. And so what happens? We end up filling our extra time doing things that are comfortable. And when we're comfortable, we almost regress as humans. If we're not challenging, if we're not pushing, it's not like we just stay the same. We actually get worse. And I don't say that to scare you. I say that because it's just so important as a man that you push yourself consistently to get better. You can't just keep living life the same way and expecting things to change. If nothing changes, nothing changes, bro. I don't say this to be like, unemotional, or like, as if I'm not speaking in a empathetic way, bro. I've been where you basically are, bro. I went through that depression. I know what it's like. And I'm telling you, bro, you need to push yourself out of that. The problem is when we go through depression, in a weird way, that depression actually becomes comfortable. You begin to associate depression as like your home because you've been there for so long, and the world is like this big scary place, and we almost just it's so hard just to it's like it gets to the point where we don't even want to stop being depressed because that's all we know. That's all we know, full stop. I'm telling you, bro, it may be comfortable, but it's not worth living life that way. It's not worth living life that way at all. You have to face the world. You have to get out of your house. You have to do stuff that's going to challenge you and push you to grow. If you're not actively seeking comfort, then what are you going to spend the rest of your time doing? You're just going to keep spending your time overthinking. And because your brain has been trained to constantly produce negative thoughts, all that's going to keep producing is negative thoughts because you just give yourself more time to think. It's true, bro, but when you are truly busy and you are pushing yourself, it's almost like your brain doesn't have the capacity to think of negative thoughts. Suddenly your brain just goes from living this comfortable life where you just have so much time to overthink, and then all of a sudden now you are pushing yourself, and your mind is focusing on improving yourself as a man. The second point I wanted to talk about was you need to adopt an internal locus of control. So what that means is essentially the reason why you're depressed. Actually, no, let me say that again, right? The only way you are going to get out of this depression is you. And I mean that. The problem is the world we live in, there is some truth to it in what it says. You know, they say that we're depressed because of our environment. We're depressed because of our upbringing. We're depressed because of all these external factors. And yet, I'm not denying the fact that those have a significant factor into why you feel the way that you feel. I'm not denying that. But the problem is because we have been so convinced of that, we have almost gone too far, and now we have like an external locus of control. Now, everything that basically the reason why we're depressed is because of things outside of our control. And we no longer look to ourselves to think, okay, what am I doing that would contribute to me feeling the way that I feel? You know, going back to the first point, we're not challenging ourselves enough. I bet you probably have 2-3 hours minimum a day that you are spending alone in your bedroom. Or not only that, you just aren't using that time productively to build yourself and to become better. You need to adopt this mindset from moving forward that the only way you're going to get out of depression is if you start taking action. Just like what I said, when I started lifting dumbbells and I said enough is enough, my life began to change because I recognized that I can't just keep sitting around in life, letting life control me. I realized that if you allow life to control you, you're screwed, man. You're screwed. If you don't control life, life will control you. And so you need to find you need to muster up an internal reason why you must keep going. You need to look in the mirror and just almost declare to yourself that I can't keep living life this way. It is my duty to fix this. The third point is you need to find friends who can help you. Friends who can encourage you, who can keep you accountable. And I say this to almost build off the second point. When I say that the only person that's going to get you out of depression is you, I mean that. But we need people in our lives to keep us accountable. We need friends that can help push us to grow and to become better. Because when we are going through depression, there's going to be many days where we don't want to get out of bed. We don't want to push ourselves. We don't want to do anything. We just want to sit and be comfortable, because that's the only thing that feels like it's not against us, like it's not holding us down. We can just sit in our bed and just be distracted from our depressing reality. It's only when you have friends in your life who can push you, who can say, come on man, you got to get up, you got to go for that run, you got to do that task, you got to push yourself. It's only when you do that, only when you have those type of friends in your life, that you will start to take action more and more, and you'll be able to share moments where you aren't at your best, and just have them encourage you and say, man, you got to keep going. And linking back to the internal locus of control, if you do not have those people in your life, you need to make it your duty to find those people. Those people aren't just going to show up at your doorstep, bro. It's not that you are a burden to them. It's not that no one wants to be your friend. It's that you're not actively seeking out those people. Are you working on becoming a person who other people would want to be friends with? Because if no, then why not? You can't let depression hold you back from wanting to become better in life, bro. I know it sucks. I know it's like, it's almost like you don't have this motivation. You just want to give up. But trust me, man, I'm saying this from experience. You can tell I'm genuinely passionate about what I'm saying. Life does get better, bro, and you need to find those people who can help you to break free. You need to make it your responsibility, bro. I don't know how applicable this part of the video is going to be, but from my experience, what helped me the most, even more than the challenge, ultimately was finding God. Now, I don't know if you're religious or anything, bro, but just hear me out. Don't click off this video. When I was in my darkest point, and then I was continually getting better and improving my life, I got to I was getting better, right? Life was becoming better. I was challenging myself. I was seeing progress. But what helped me the most was when I found God. And the reason why I say that is because regardless of where you are in life, God loves you, bro. He really does. He cares about you. And the way I see it, man, if you're at the lowest point in your life right now, why not give God a try, bro? Why not just pray? Why not just ask him to reveal himself? If he's even there, if he cares about you, just ask. Just say, just offer a prayer. Even if you don't even believe, even if you don't even know he's there or not, just say, God, I don't know if you're there or not, but I pray that you'll help me. You got nothing to lose, man. If you're at the lowest point in your life, give God a try, bro, honestly. Because he saves my life, and he met me in that darkest moment. Regardless of whether you decide to do that or not, you need to find hope. You need to have something that you can cling on to when you go through these times. You need to know that on the other side of this struggle, that there really is the light at the end of the tunnel, man. I don't mean to be cliche, but there really is. And you need to be able to just understand that you can't give up. You can't give up, bro. I know I'm rambling on a bit now, but man, you just need to realize that if you continue to stay relentless, if you refuse to give up, and you just commit yourself to breaking free from this depression, and you find those friends, you challenge yourself, you realize that it's me who's going to get me out of depression, bro, I can almost guarantee you that your life will change, bro. Okay, and if you do happen to ask God to reveal himself to you, man, I pray that he really does, and that you'll be able to change your life, all right?